Hello, everyone. Welcome back to my channel. It's the Distinguished Professor.
With a real patriot. He is my friend, and he is my great mentor.
And good-looking professor.
Hey, this is another impromptu session here. I'm going to call this a study hall.
Let's bounce some ideas around, man. Study hall right now. Let's go.
So make sure you tap that notification bell so you're not tardy if I do another study hall, but also make sure you like, subscribe, and share this video. Make sure this content's getting out to your friends and family. I'm putting out some good content. They should hear it. They should see it as well. So on today's study hall, we're going to talk about the Sonya Massey shooting. I know a lot of people are talking about this. I'm not going to react to the young lady, the white lady on TikTok who think it's justified, things that sort. I'm just going to give my perspective on it. I'm going to provide some information about it and then see how it ties into our presidential race. So without further ado, let's get started. Study hall is in session. So let's start off with that police cam video. We're going to watch about 4 or 5 minutes of it. I may interject here and there. I probably will interject here and there because there's some things in there that I just don't agree with. So we're going to get started with that. Before we do, viewer discretion is advised. So make sure if you're a child or if you're watching it with a child that, hey, they know what's going to happen. But in addition to that, if you don't want them to see it, make sure they're leaving the room or you're shielding the device so they don't have to see that. But again, viewer discretion is advised, but we're going to go ahead and show the video. It's going to show, like I said, show about 4 or 5 minutes of it. So let's get started. As you see, for some reason, Deputy Grayson is walking into the building, walking into the residence. Why, I'm not sure. He didn't have a warrant. He didn't have probable cause. Yes, I'm not sure. And he wasn't invited in, I'm guessing. But I'm not sure if she invited him in or not. But I'm not sure why he walked in because the only body cam we have right now is of the other officer.
Hello? Yeah, I need, I got the sheriff department here, but I was calling for help from y'all.
Okay, are you there with me?
They're here in my house right now.
Okay, I'll let you go so you talk to them.
No, hold on, wait a second, sir.
You can hang up, Todd. Well, that's good.
For what? You're there with the deputy, correct?
No, hold on, okay?
You can hang
Hold
up.
on for what?
Just 1 second, okay? Okay.
What's up?
I got some paperwork. Can you grab that Bible, please?
Yeah. Hey, I just need your name so we can get out of here. Was there any damage previous to your car?
Previous, yeah, it was.
Okay, what was the damage?
A dent, I believe.
Well, what about windows?
Oh, it was something that happened earlier.
Okay, perfect. What is your last name? Shouldn't have to think about your last name. You're not in trouble. I just need to text.
Massey.
See, so as you can see, she may be just a little disheveled. It's 1 something in the morning. She may be a little disheveled. Looking at the condition of her house, she may have a condition, a mental condition. I'm not sure. I don't want to speculate on that because I don't know. But there's something going on for the house to be in that state. But she couldn't even remember her last name. And he's in the office like, you shouldn't have to think about your last name, which is true. So there's something going on there. I'm not exactly sure. And you'll see later she couldn't even couldn't find her idea. And the officer's like, hey, listen, let's just do one thing at a time, find one thing at a time. Because maybe her brain's going all over the place. Not sure, but let's continue to watch.
Massey.
Yeah, you have an ID? That'd make things so much easier. I just need just driver's license will do, and I'll get out of your hair.
And just from that, he sounds kind of frustrated with her. He's like, can you just give us your ID? Like, he sounds a little frustrated. I don't want to speak to his mind state at that time, but he seems a little frustrated. So, but let's continue.
I want to show y'all my paperwork.
I will
What?
get your paperwork.
What paperwork?
Okay. I got some paperwork.
Well, just
from-
get your ID.
Well, let's get your ID first, and then
One task at a time here.
Okay. Let me
Here,
find-
grab your ID for me.
Hold on. Okay.
Your ID. One task at a time. So let's do an ID, and then you can dig around for your paperwork.
I don't know where my ID is.
You
it's in
have-
that stack right there, maybe.
1 second.
Check on her.
And I think you see the officer, he points to the stove. Either he hears the boiling water or sees the boiling water. He points to the stove. So I believe at this time he's telling her to go turn it off. But okay, she's boiling water. I mean, yes, a house fire can start from boiling water, but that's what law enforcement is there for. Guess what? You're there to protect and serve. So if it does create a fire, there's no issue. But I mean, she's sitting on the sofa. She's fine. He should have left it be as it was, because she would have gave him her license. They would have got her information, and it would have went on about their business. But no, go turn the stove off so there's no fire.
Let me get this.
No, we don't need a fire while we're here.
Right. Right. Let me see. Okay.
As you see, she got her mittens or her pot holders to grab the hot pot off the stove.
Where you going?
Huh?
Where you going?
And then she starts to run the water from the sink. I mean, I'm not sure why, maybe to cool the water down or to cool it down from hitting whatever in her sink. I'm not sure. I don't want to speculate, but she does turn the water on for some reason. And I mean, even if it was hot water, it's still not going to do anything. But she did turn the faucet water on.
Away from your hot steaming water.
Away from my hot steaming water?
Yeah.
Oh, I would rebuke you in the name of Jesus.
So at that point, she says, "I rebuke you in the name of Jesus." And this is where it all goes down.
Huh?
Rebuke you in the name of
You better fucking not.
So he's standing middle of the front room. She says, "I rebuke you in the name of Jesus." And he immediately goes to his pistol, his sidearm, and she says it again, says, "You better effing not." Why is he escalating the situation? I don't get that. Last I checked, rebuking someone in the name of Jesus was never constituted as a threat. So let's continue.
I swear to God, I'll fucking shoot you right in your fucking face.
What part of police protocol is that? That he said, "I will shoot you in your effing face." He's a 200 something, probably 6 foot something male, and she's probably like 5'5", 140, 50 pounds soaking wet. If that, maybe 130 pounds soaking wet. She has a pot of water that she's probably either over the sink or she's holding. I know she has the sink on. And he's like, "You better effing not. I'll shoot you in the effing face." So let's just say at this point in time, she's constituting a threat and she needs to be neutralized. Most police officers are taught and trained to shoot at center mass. Her center mass is fully there. If he needed to draw and shoot, he has center mass. But let's continue, and we'll dive deep into that a little bit later.
Okay, I'm sorry.
Drop the fucking top.
So now he draws his weapon. So as with any woman or any person, but not any woman, any person, they're going to automatically get nervous. She's already disheveled. You've seen she was disheveled from the first time when you asked her name and she had to think about it. Like, "Give me your license." And you had to, and like, "Well, actually, I want to show you guys my paperwork." No, let's see the license first. And then you had to say, "Hey, let's do one thing at a time." Right? You drew a weapon on a lady. She's not fully there, whether she's half asleep on a medication, she's had a mental issue, whatever it is, she's not fully there. And you drew your weapon on her. Because she has water.
Fucking drop the fucking pot.
And now you ask her to drop the pot and you move closer to her where she has that maybe that water in her hand. But let me say something to you. I rarely see cops when they're facing a deadly threat move toward the threat. Rarely have I seen it. They usually are moving back or trying to find cover. So guess what? If she has boiling hot water, why did you not just move the fuck back or find cover like most police officers I've seen in situations of shootings would have done? But you move closer to her, the situation where you can get boiling hot water thrown on you because you move closer to her. You were in the middle of the front room. Now you're at almost the bar area. I don't get it. I don't get it. And then the other officer didn't draw his weapon till Deputy Grayson drew his. So there was no imminent threat there. But again, we'll get into that later. Let's watch the rest of it.
19 shots fired.
Shots fired! Shots fired! Drop the fucking pot! Bring EMS now. We got a headshot wound to the female. Headshot wound to the female. 1078. Fuck.
I was on. I'm gonna go get my kit.
No, headshot, dude. You're done. You can go get it, but that's a headshot. God damn it.
God, fuck.
Dude, I'm not taking fucking boiling water in the fucking head. And look, it fucking came right to our feet, too. God damn it.
You know how you could have prevented that from not coming to your feet? By stepping back from water. Makes no sense. You could have just took a step back. Could have kept taking steps back. Don't get it.
God damn it.
You good?
I'm good. You good?
Yeah, I'm good. What's her got? Let her fucking just...
God.
Is that what you do, man?
Fuck.
You good? All right. Fuck. Well, I mean, you know, what else do we do? I'm not taking hot boiling water to the fucking face, and it already reached us. Fuck.
Again, another way you not take boiling water to the face, step back.
They got a 52 en route.
Yeah, 1078. She's still breathing, but she's losing a lot of blood from the head.
And that's really all I wanted to show from that. This is absolutely crazy. I'm not happy about this. I think there is a small scene because when he turned his body cam on, Deputy Grayson turned his body cam on. You can see her lifting the pot toward him. That's how you saw. That's how the water got on the ground. But again, if he had stepped back, there would have been no issue. He would have never got hit with boiling water. She was not coming at him. She literally stood up to throw the pot. She didn't rush at him. She didn't walk at him. She didn't run at him. But yeah, I'm outraged, man. We're confronted with this grave injustice. Once again, it shows the brutality faced by black people in America. Now, I don't want to make this a race thing, but again, the lady was black and the cop was white, so it is a race thing. I'm not saying he's racist. I'm saying it is a race thing. I mean, this lady was a 36-year-old mother, 36-year-old daughter of someone. She was, from what all accounts say, was a pillar in the community. And she was just simply seeking help. And the help she sought took her out. This is just ridiculous. This is why police reform needs to be enacted. Simply put. But like I said, the one officer, thank God he had his body cam on. Deputy Grayson, the officer that was involved in the shooting, did not. He turned his on right before he shot her. But I want to look at Illinois state law on this. Because I definitely want to see if he acted accordingly and in control. Well, when it comes to the body cam, Illinois law specifies that officers must keep their body cameras on during all law enforcement related activities. Let me say that again. Illinois law specifies that officers must keep their body cameras on during all law enforcement related activities. And they can only turn them off during certain community caretaking functions, such as death notifications or performing well-being checks. Failure to comply with a body camera policy can result in charges of misconduct, which is a Class 3 felony in Illinois. Why was his body camera not on? He was not doing a well-being check. He was there investigating to see if someone was on the premises, because this lady, Miss Massey, I'm not sure if she was married. was complaining of hearing someone in the backyard, or her hearing an intruder. That's why she called him. So you should have had your body camera on, which is probably why the other officer had his body camera on. So step one, you failed to have your body camera on. Regarding police use of deadly force, Illinois state law stipulates that officers can only use deadly force when they believe it is necessary to prevent death or great bodily harm to themselves or another person. The law emphasizes de-escalation and the use of non-lethal options whenever possible. What non-lethal option did he use? He did not. He went straight for his service weapon. What deadly force was he presented with? Because yes, boiling water can kill someone. Yes. How many times is boiling water being thrown onto someone killed someone? I couldn't find any research that showed me one person passing away. I have seen people have boiled water poured on them with sugar in two separate, and one was down the throat, one was on the body. I've seen people, I've heard of the research I found, people fell into hot springs and passed away, but never anyone having boiling water tossed on them have I seen someone pass away in the history of mankind. However long you think that is, 6,000 years or 60 million years, I don't care, but it's never happened. Now, let's just make sure we define what imminent threat is. An imminent threat is a situation where a reasonable officer in the same circumstances would believe that a person has the present ability, opportunity, and apparent intent to immediately cause death or great bodily harm. Now, the other officer did not have his weapon drawn until Deputy Grayson drew his. So I don't think he saw that present ability, opportunity, or apparent intent to immediately cause death or great bodily harm. Deputy Grayson had on body armor, body cameras. If he would have stepped back, there would have been no issue. That boiling water would have got him wet, but it would not have caused great bodily harm or killed him. And he could have de-escalated the situation, which he definitely didn't, because as soon as the lady said, "I rebuke you in the name of Jesus," he automatically took that as a threat. Now, there are some that say maybe she saw in her third eye. I know the Bible talks about we wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against principalities and powers. I'm not sure what this lady saw. I've heard people say they've seen their life flash before their eyes, but before they passed away. So maybe she's seen something. I'm not sure. I'm not going to speculate. I like to stick to just the facts. But deadly force should not have been used. Again, I reiterate, deadly force should not have been used. The law emphasizes that officers must use deadly force judiciously, taking into account the totality of circumstances. Totality of circumstances. This lady obviously was not in her right mind, including the conduct of the officer and the subject leading up to the use of force. Illinois state officers, like I said earlier, like other places are, their officers are trained to shoot center, mass, and headshots are discouraged except in situations where there's no other viable option to neutralize an imminent deadly threat. Explain to me, how was she imminent? How was she an imminent deadly threat? With a pot of water. A pot of water. How was she constituting an imminent deadly threat? And again, you saw the fact that she was standing straight up at one point. If she was an imminent deadly threat, you could have shot her center mass, not in the head. If you were afraid when she ducked down because she was scared after you drew your weapon and then apologized, you could have sought cover. The other officer was behind cover and then came out of cover and drew his weapon. Officer Grayson, you could have done the same thing. You could have backed up. You could have backed all the way up outside the house and sought cover from the outside and by peeking in through the door. You were in the military. You should know these things. Guys, we must understand this is not just about one rogue officer. This is not just about Detective Grayson. It's about a system that allows such individuals to continue their reign of terror. Deputy Grayson is a man with a history of moving between multiple law agencies, is a symptom of deeper disease of lack of accountability in our police forces. Him being a police officer is a lack of accountability. He should have never been a police officer. I'm going to tell you why in a second. This man should never have been allowed to serve, as he gives all police officers a bad name. And again, we're going to look at that history right now. Deputy Grayson, actually Mr. Grayson, because he's not deputy anymore, worked at 6 different law enforcement agencies since 2020. He held part-time positions with the Pawnee, Kincaid, and Verdon police departments and full-time roles with Auburn Police, Logan County Sheriff's Office before joining the, was it Sagamon County Sheriff's Offices in May 2023. So a little bit over a year he's been there. He was at 5 other police stations before this. There has to be some sort of situation. Mr. Grayson served in the military. He served in the U.S. Army as a mechanic for 2 years before he was discharged in 2016 for serious misconduct, which involved a DUI. This information was known to his current sheriff's department office at the time of his hire. So a year ago, they knew about this, that he was discharged in 2016 for serious misconduct. This man was all about misconduct. He did misconduct just now. This is what got him in trouble. He has there's a reason he worked at 5 other police stations before this one. There's a reason he was discharged in 2016. While working for the Logan County Sheriff's Office, Grayson was disciplined for driving 110 miles per hour after being ordered to stop a pursuit. He was asked to stop a pursuit and continued it at 110 miles per hour. So not just that, but he hit a deer and damaged his police cruiser. So he was told to stop and kept going. Insubordination is what that sounds like to me. At Logan. This is misconduct. This is a series of events. What is the greatest predictor of future behavior? Past behavior. Not only that, as a person, as a civilian, Grayson was arrested for DUIs and separate incidents in 2015 and 2016. So 2 DUIs. These convictions, again, highlight a pattern of behavior that raises questions about his suitability for law enforcement. 2 DUIs as a civilian in 15 and 16. 16, he's kicked out of the military because of misconduct, because of a DUI, because of that 1 DUI. He's asked to stop a pursuit. He's like, no, I'm going to do it anyway. I'm going to drive 110 miles an hour. And he hits a deer, damages the property. 5 other law enforcement agencies before the one he was at now. This is crazy. This is gross misconduct. Gross misconduct. Again, these details paint a concerning picture of Grayson's career and behavior, both before and during his time as law enforcement. His prior misconduct and disciplinary issues raised significant questions about the decision to hire him. His conduct during the incident that led to Mrs. Massey's death, how does this connect to our current climate and presidential election? I told you I was going to get there. Again, I'm all about facts over feelings. And we can't fall into identity politics or vote for someone just because we don't like them. As a person, even though you don't know him, a lot of people don't like Trump, but they don't even know him. They know nothing about him, never met the guy, but they don't like him. But let's talk about Kamala Harris real quick, because I talked about it earlier in the year. Let's see how this intertwines. And again, like I said earlier in this week, I recently did that video exposing the fact that as AG, Kamala Harris opposed mandatory body cameras for police officers and resisted independent investigations of police shootings. She locked up countless Black people, disproportionately impacting our communities. She suppressed evidence and defended wrongful convictions. Her policies have directly contributed to the suffering of Black people in our country. So as a Black woman, AKA, she directly contributed to suffering of Black people in America. Had this been Kamala Harris's county or Kamala Harris's state, had Kamala Harris been the AG of Illinois, no body camera would have been worn, and this shooting would not have been investigated. Let me say that to you again. No body camera would have been worn, and this shooting would not have been investigated. This cop would have been allowed to go scot-free, more likely than not, because she wouldn't have investigated it and been able to go rain terror on someone else. This just would have been a dead Black woman. Now, you guys don't like Trump, but let's look at it. Under the Trump administration, steps were taken to improve police accountability. President Trump promoted body-worn cameras for federal law enforcement officers, emphasizing transparency and trust. I apologize. This is a stark contrast to Mrs. Harris' record, which shows a lack of commitment to accountability and justice. Again, the president is the top cop, which she called herself ironically, in California. Now, I do want to make it clear. This is not an attack on all police officers. This is not an attack on police officers in general. I have friends who are cops, family members, friends of spouses that are in law enforcement. I have no issues with cops. They have a high stress job, and I don't envy them whatsoever. I really don't. They have a hard job as it is. I do respect them. They are very much needed in our society, because I definitely will tell you, if someone's breaking into my house, I'm going to call the cops. So cops are needed. And I don't lose faith in them because of this one bad apple. This is not a cop thing. Let me get this clear. This is not a cop thing. It's a systemic thing. We must reform the system to ensure that all officers can serve and protect our community effectively, fairly, and safely. I'm going to say that again. This is not a cop thing. It's a systemic thing. And we must reform the system to ensure that all officers can serve and protect our communities effectively, fairly, and safely. Because at the end of the day, not only do I want to go home, that officer wants to go home. So we have to fix the system that which these cops are operating. We're still waiting, even in the aftermath of BLM, whatever you thought about that, the riots, things of that sort from George Floyd. The George Floyd Justice and Policing Act has yet to be passed. That act aims to address police misconduct and excessive force, and the delay in this being passed is unacceptable. If President Trump is elected, he needs that should be his first act in office. If Kamala Harris is elected, this needs to be her first act in office. This George Floyd Justice and Policing Act has to be passed. There's no if, there's no ands, and there's no buts. The George Floyd Policing Act needs to be passed. Period. We need comprehensive law reform, mandatory body cameras, independent investigations, and stricter oversight. This is essential to ensure accountability and rebuild trust in law enforcement. We can't allow law enforcement to investigate their own situations. We can't allow law enforcement not to have body cameras. I don't care what you have to do, raise money in the government, in the state government, what in the local government, whatever, but cops need to have body cameras on, and they need to be on at all times. And cops who fail to have their body cameras on during stops or whatever it is they have going on that is not civil or like you said, death, informing of a death or well-being checks, they need to not only be fired, but also be tried for whatever misconduct is. I'm okay with the class 3 felony in Illinois. I'm okay with that. So that's the kind of reform we need. This cop did not comply. And under Kamala Harris, these cops would not need to comply because she wouldn't want it to be done, and she's not going to investigate it. But I want to tell all my brothers and sisters, both black, white, and different. I don't care. We're all brothers and sisters in this world. We all bleed blue. I mean, we all bleed blue. We all bleed red. We bleed the red, white, and blue, but we bleed red. We all bleed the same. So we, as a people, must demand justice for Sonya Massey and push for systemic changes to prevent such tragedies. Support measures like George Floyd Justice and Policing Act. Stand in solidarity with Sonya's family and fight for a future where everyone can feel safe calling for help without fearing for their lives. We have to do it. There's no ifs, ands, or buts again about this. Sonya Massey's death is a stark reminder of the urgent need for police reform and accountability. We must honor her memory by continuing to fight for justice and systemic change. Together, we can work together towards a society where no one has to fear those sworn to protect them. Again, I'm going to say it again. Sonya Massey's death is a stark reminder of the urgent need for police reform and accountability. We must honor her memory by continuing to fight for justice and systemic change. Together, we can work towards a society where no one has to fear those sworn to protect them. Our children, our grandparents, us should not fear the police. We should not fear the police. We should not be afraid to call the police for something that's happening in our lives and hoping they protect us and hoping they protect us, but also hoping they don't kill us at the same time. This has to change. And again, I want to say this to the police officers. I respect you guys. I care about you guys. You guys have a tough and hard job. This is not your fault. This is not you as a policeman's fault. There should be no violence toward police officers, period, point blank. We understand that you're here to protect us. One bad apple cannot ruin the bunch. Police are great people. I've had maybe one weird incident with a police officer. I'm still here to talk about it. So police are not the problem. It's the system that police are operating in. This guy should not have been allowed to be a police officer. That's what it boils down to. And that's no pun intended. The lack of oversight in hiring him. Now, I get it. There's some towns, some counties that have shortages in police officers. There should be no shortage alive that allows for this type of person to be hired. Period. Point blank. Full stop. It has to stop. It has to stop. I know Biden did. He did pass a historic executive order to advance effective accountability in policing and strengthen public safety. He passed that back in May. I think it was back in May of 2022. I'm gonna show that. Give me 1 second, and I'll show that real quick before we get out of here. Where is it at? Right there. So, as you can see, he did. This is what he did. Okay. All right. And this is in the wake of what happened with George Floyd, right? So this did take place. 1,000%. 1,000%. But this is not enough. This is not enough. As you can see, this is from whitehouse.gov. So again, I like to present facts and figures, things that so data, so you guys can look this stuff up yourself. So go read it. Go read about it. Go look about it. But I'm gonna say it again. This issue needs to change. And this is a call and a plea. Donald J. Trump, if you're elected the 47th president of the United States, the George Floyd Policing Act should be your first order of business. Again, the George Floyd Policing Act should be your first order of business. Kamala Harris, if you're elected president, the 47th president, this needs to be your first act. It's need to be the first thing you pass, your first order of business. If you are half black, like you claim to say you are during election season, then protect your black people and pass the George Floyd Policing Act. Because we've seen your record in California. One way you can overturn that is by passing this act. We won't overlook it, but maybe we can give you a pass. I'm going to end this right now. I do appreciate you guys all for watching. This has been 30 plus minutes. I appreciate you guys all for watching this. But again, please like, subscribe, share, hit the notification bell, because this is no laughing matter and this has to stop. It is not a police thing. It's a systemic thing. And again, one thing I like to always provide is facts over feelings. Again, facts over feelings. So, however you feel about this, just look at the facts of what happened. Something has to change, and it needs to change now. We should be outraged about this. And I won't sit. I won't stand still. I've already been on the phone with people who are in the community about coordinating some things. I know people who already work with the police officers who are who have worked towards some reform and getting them used to certain areas, because certain areas are a little bit more dangerous than others, and some officers are afraid to work in those areas. I know people who are working in those situations. I've had conversations with them, but again, this is just study hall. I want to go ahead and end this now, but I look forward to seeing you guys again. Class dismissed.